afternoon, and I am doing my April what I've watched a little bit earlier than usual. It's the 29th, I think, today. Okay, with a couple of days still to go. Should I maybe try not to watch movies for the next... Anyway, I've got a little opening, a little gap. That sounded rude. Today I'm going to get this what I've watched in March out there for you now. Rush through this, get it done as quick as possible. I know your time is precious. You don't want to listen to me waffle for half an hour. I'm talking rubbish. I shouldn't even be saying this. This month should be a shorter one because I haven't watched quite as many movies as usual. I've been binging TV shows. I have a couple of days of April obviously left, so I may be putting a couple of movies onto May's list if I watch any in the next 2 days, but maybe I shall be fixated with things like Cobra Kai, who knows. So let's get the old video recorder in motion and let's see what I watched in April. So first off, there at the bottom of the list you can see Pet Sematary, the 1989 original. I was watching this in preparation of obviously the new movie. I enjoyed it just as much as I did as a kid, just as much as I did, but I think I haven't seen this movie since I was a teenager, and that is too many years ago for me to want to mention. So yeah, loved it. 4.5 out of 5. Don't really need to say any more about that. On the 2nd, I watched Until the Light Takes Us. This was something that was recommended to me by a few people after having watched Lords of Chaos about the black metal band Mayhem. This is more a documentary movie. I think Christian from Jen's Reviews from the Grave had talked about this, and my buddy Chris from the channel Chris and Toria had also recommended this to me. So yeah, chronicles the history, ideology and aesthetics of Norwegian black metal. I will say I did not really enjoy this as much as people had said it was really good, but in defense of the documentary, I'm not a fan of black metal. I like metal music. I'm really like old school, like Judas Priest and that kind of thing. I'm not into black metal. It's a bit too heavy for me, or thrash metal or speed metal or any of that sort of stuff. I just found the guys that were interviewed... Now, I'm sorry, my memory for names is terrible, but the drummer from Mayhem, I think it was the drummer, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the things that he was saying in this when he was interviewed about Euronymous and what happened and what Garth? It sounds like Garth, what is it? The guy that killed Euronymous. Garth. Can't remember the guy's name. Varg. There, we got there eventually. Shall I cut that out? No, I'm going to leave that in. Varg. He was speaking from an almost hero worship point of view of thinking what he did with burning all the churches and how brave he was to do what he did was just ridiculous. And I found myself getting quite cross at this idiot being put into some sort of like ideology. Oh, bloody hell. When you put something as an idol, idolicize, whatever that word is, it just made me quite cross, and I just spent most of the thing thinking, you utter wanker, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. I like it when people, the ideas are flipped on their head, and when it comes to rock and metal and thrash and black metal, that we actually are presented with decent people with a brain, and this just did not come across to me in that. But that's just... I'm not saying everyone was that way because that's not the case, but this one guy just really got my back up. And obviously we had Garth Kwarg interviewed throughout also, and that guy's just a prat. So on the 4th I went to the cinema to see the remake of Pet Sematary. You can see there I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the movie. The twist that was in the movie that I was so lucky not to know about in advance. Thank you, Lee McCoy. He warned everyone on Killer Flicks, and I was lucky enough to see that message. I didn't see the trailer that revealed the twist, so I went in there not knowing, and I loved that twist. It made more sense to me than the original storyline. In saying that, I prefer the original. It has more heart, but I did enjoy the remake, I have to say. On the 5th, Escape Room, and this is being put across as like a PG version of Saw. I can see that in places and not so much in others. It reminded me more of the movie Cube, which is something I really like. I enjoyed Escape Room. It's getting an awful lot of hate from an awful lot of people. I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't think it was one of the best movies I'd seen, but I did I did enjoy it. I enjoyed while I was watching, so yeah, I'd recommend it. Not for you to go and spend your money at the cinema. Don't think that was that good, but yeah, I'd recommend it. On the 6th, we went to the cinema to see Shazam, which I loved. For DC, this is a really light-hearted change of direction, and with Endgame, obviously, at the time was on the horizon, I think it was such a good idea to make things light-hearted and fun. And having an 8-year-old myself who's very much into superheroes, I know a lot of people don't like the sort of making it family suitable, but for me as a parent, it's really nice to be able to go to see these kind of movies with my kid and not to be forced to only go and see animations and cartoons. And I just felt this movie had a really good message. It was really entertaining. I don't feel that the suitability for kids made it in any way less enjoyable for me. I just felt it was excellent. I really enjoyed that. On the same evening, The Highwaymen. I can't really give you an opinion on this. Even though it's on there, my husband wanted to see this, and we watched a review on Screen Stars from Aaron, who really thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm not really into this kind of movie, and I happened to be editing video when this was on, so an awful lot of this I missed. This is a movie you really have to sit down and concentrate on and put your full attention on, which I didn't. So I lost an awful lot of what was going on. It did seem like a very well put together, well thought out, interesting movie if you want to sit down and really watch it and concentrate. My husband enjoyed it. He didn't love it, but he did say it covers, so I should have said, Two Men That Took Down Bonnie and Clyde. It's an elaboration of a true story, and my husband, being very into like this kind of thing, said that how it ended and what happened is very, very true to the real case and how things went and what happened, so he enjoyed it. On the 10th, The Silence. This is one on Netflix at the moment, very clearly cashing in on the success of A Quiet Place, although I will say the novel of this movie was written before A Quiet Place. I think it's very clear that it has been released following these sort of sensory, removal of the senses horrors that are becoming very popular. I found it very generic. I found it quite dull. I didn't care what happened to people. I didn't find... Why have I given that 3 stars? No. 2. There. Maybe I was in a generous mood. It was okay. It was watchable. The acting was all fine. The cinematography was great. I just didn't care. And it didn't help that we had John Corbett in there, who I love, Aidan from Sex and the City, and he wasn't in there for very long. He just had a very small part. That irked me as well. Mirage, what was this one? Oh yes, this one was really, really good. I think this is Spanish. Does it say? No. I think it's Spanish. Two storms separated by 25 years, a woman murdered, a daughter missed, only 72 hours to discover the truth. If this is not remade, I will eat my hat. This was a really, really interesting story that involves an aspect of time travel, about changing things that happen in the past and how that implicates your life and how it implicates other people's. There's a load of twists and turns, really interesting, just kept me transfixed start to finish. Durante la Tormenta, which means during the storm. I loved this. This is just over 2 hours long, 2 hours 8 minutes. I would thoroughly recommend. I think it may have been on Netflix. It was fantastic. I would thoroughly recommend that to you. I don't want to say too much to give too much away, but the storyline was just so clever, and I do think they will remake this one. I'd be shocked if they didn't. Next on the 14th was Welcome to Marwen. At the moment I am on a bit of a US Office binge. So Steve Carell is in our household every night. I do love the guy, he's a fantastic actor. This really intrigued me, this storyline. You can't put this hero in a box. When a devastating attack shatters Mark Hogenkamp and wipes away all memories, no unexpected recovery. Putting together pieces from his old and new life, Mark meticulously creates a wondrous town named Marwen where he can heal and be heroic. As he builds an astonishing art installation through his fantasy world, he draws strength to triumph in the real one. This is so unique. As it said, he actually builds a small town called Marwen, and he gets dolls and he makes them up to be people that are in the town that he interacts with. And he's sort of playing out his trauma through army figures and the women that he knows throughout the town, and he buys these beautiful dolls and dresses them like the woman and gives them all personas. But the animation in this that they have of Steve Carell and the woman and all the Germans, I'm not spoiling much there, we're talking about the war. I don't know how they've done it. It looks incredible. The women look like the actresses, but they also look like dolls, and they move like dolls, and their bodies are like dolls and all jointed, and it's incredibly well done. I don't know how they've done it. I don't know when my screen recorder switched off, but it did. So goodness only knows what's going on there. Right, so yeah, welcome to Marwen. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It won't be everyone's cup of tea. I loved it. On the 20th, Wonder Park. It was Easter week. Isaac was off school. We went to see this at the cinema. How they got away with this, I will never know. It's so clearly based on Disney, even to the point of a structure that looks exactly like Disney Castle and Epcot. I loved it. It was fun. It was light-hearted. It had a really nice message. Some names in it. We've got Matthew Broderick, Jennifer Garner, Brianna Tensky, Kenan Thompson, Sophia Mali, Mila Kunis. There's a lot of voices you'll recognise, and it was such a sweet, nice, lovely little movie. So yeah, loved it. Dumbo. The following day I think we went to see, well, that same week. I liked it. I enjoyed the story. Is it Aidan? What the hell's his name? Colin Farrell, sorry. Did a very good job. Danny DeVito's in this. He was excellent. There was something missing. I expected to be more upset by this than I was. I did tear up once. It was enjoyable, but there was just something missing from it, I will say. I don't think Disney have to quite make everything into real life movies, but I will say I saw the Lion King trailer, and I'm one of these that thinks you can't do that justice, the Lion King. But the trailer, oh my god, the trailer brought tears to my eyes. So I now am really looking forward to seeing the live adaptation of The Lion King. It looks incredible. On the 25th, Avengers Endgame. What can I say? I was going to do a live reaction to this when I came out of the cinema. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything here. But I was unable to, because I know my feelings about things within the movie would give away stuff that was going to happen. So I didn't. My son, however, did, but it's a spoiler review, so I will link it below if you want to watch it. But he was very excited about it. It was an awesome movie, although I preferred Infinity War. I will admit to being biased, just through being wounded about storylines within Endgame. On the 26th, Happy Death Day to You. I knew I wouldn't really like this. When it came to the cinema, I didn't go to see it. I didn't really dig the first one. It's just that whole mood of horror I don't like. It's in the same vein as I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, all those things like Scary Movie, Epic Movie. I don't enjoy comedy horror like this. Shaun of the Dead I love. The Evil Dead series I love, but I just don't like these movies, and that's just a personal thing. I'm sure there's a lot of people that really enjoyed it, but I unfortunately was not one of those people. So, Happy Death Day to You. Two more. Arctic. I love this. This was fantastic. I think this is it Danish perhaps? But it's all in English. In saying it's all in English, there's very, very, very little dialogue in this. This is a survival story of a man that crashes in the Arctic. He's on like a single aircraft. He thinks he is saved. A helicopter is seen coming towards him. This is not a spoiler. This is basically just setting the story up. The helicopter unfortunately crashes. A woman on there survives, but is almost comatose. And he takes it upon himself to try and save her. So a man stranded in the Arctic is finally about to receive his long-awaited rescue. However, after a tragic accident, his opportunity is lost. He must decide whether to remain in the relative safety of his camp or embark on a deadly trek through the unknown for potential salvation. So I think we know what he's going to do, and he does. I won't tell you how it ends, but I love this. I love this kind of movie. Sort of like man or woman or whoever against everything, against the odds. There's barely any dialogue in this. Tiny, tiny little bits, but it's a beautiful movie. It reminded me of, although it's completely different to Touching the Void, it also reminded me a lot of 127 Hours. I loved it. I would thoroughly recommend that movie. I just thought it was fantastic. That's all I can say. Oh Jesus. So I wanted to get this to 10 minutes. 15. Ugh, and over 15. And lastly, last night, What Men Want. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a chick flick, isn't it? This is a movie, I'm going to give it a 3 because I enjoyed it. And I'm going to switch this off. What Men Want is basically the same as the Mel Gibson movie What Women Want, but reversed. And it's got a very ball-busting, bullshit businesswoman who doesn't connect very well with men. And something happens to enable her to hear men's thoughts, and it changes her life basically. And oh my god, what's the guy called? Why did I shut that down? I discovered the joy that is Aldous Hodge. Woo! If I can put a picture up, I will do. My battery ran out. So, what was I saying? Aldous Hodge, yes. So, yeah, it was fun. It was light-hearted. It just was the kind of thing I wanted to watch at that time, and I enjoyed it. Apart from that, this week I've started watching season 2 of Cobra Kai, which I really want to just get through as quick as possible, but I can't because my husband has yet to watch season 1 of Cobra Kai, so I'm forced to only watching this when he's asleep, so I'm only getting to watch 1 episode a night, which is killing me. It's so good. I honestly feel that Cobra Kai is better than the Karate Kid movie, and I love that movie. It's just awesome. It's so good. Game of Thrones, obviously, I'm watching every week and really enjoying and feeling really sad that this is going to be the end of the journey. What else? The Office, the US Office, I'm within 3. I'm on season 7 right now. Loving it. It's my pal Chris from Chris and Tori's channel, one of his favourite TV shows, and I can really see, although I've always preferred the British one from the humour side of things, I do think the British Office is funnier. I can really see the attachment to the characters in this one. What else have I been watching? Crime documentaries a lot. I'm still playing Red Dead Redemption on my second playthrough, but I have ordered the new game Days Gone, which is like an open realm zombie game. And I watched a little bit of gameplay on Screenstar's channel. Aaron has the game in his mitts. I don't yet. I ordered it via mail like a doughhead. I'm still waiting on it being delivered, so I probably will put a little bit of gameplay of that up when I get it. I also watched 2 movies for Geek Legion of Doom this past month. Last night I watched one called Don't Look, which is a new release from Wild Eye, which I really, really enjoyed. I've only just filmed the actual review for that for Geek Legion of Doom, so that one won't be up for a while just yet. But keep your eye out for that. I do feel a lot of you will really enjoy that. The other one was called Chasing Shadows, and it was a British like noir thriller crime movie. It wasn't as good as Don't Look, but it was a decent enough watch. But I do feel that you guys would probably prefer Don't Look. But I will pop any links that I get into the description for those movies if you fancy checking them out. And I will leave you with a little request. For those of you who have already, thank you endlessly. 3 from the Grave have actually decided to make it easier for you guys to watch our videos. We've created a channel to put them there, and basically anything we release you can watch then. We will release our videos on different days, so you're not getting them all at once and being expected to watch 3 individual videos. We'll be doing things like trailer reactions, we'll be doing funny videos, we'll be doing, if any of us has hauls of anything, we'll be giving you a bit of everything. And obviously the stuff that we normally do we'll still be doing. We will also be having guest reviewers on there, so some of you guys out there may actually be included in the show in the future. So I would ask you please, if you wouldn't mind popping over there and subscribing to us and keeping your eye out for our new content. It's just difficult to get new things off the ground, so it's just been awesome the amount of you guys that have subbed at this point and commented. We love you dearly, so yeah, I'd really appreciate if you can support the channel. It would be awesome. So yep, that's it for the month of April. Let me know below your thoughts on any of the movies I've discussed, and I will speak again to you next time. So over and out from Lisa Lives.